Hello there, friends. It is Jimmie Maverick, and welcome to the Fantasy Frenzy podcast here on Thanksgiving Eve. We want to wish you all a very happy holiday season and a nice Thanksgiving tomorrow. Hopefully there's not a lot of fights and there is a lot of alcohol. So make the best of it. We got a lot of football tomorrow as well, which is great. 3 games instead of 1. So that's a great thing. So we are going to talk about this week's start sits. And also, I gotta brag, man. I gotta tell you, I won $500 this past weekend. Whoop whoop. That's right. I'm guaranteed to win at least $500 in my high stakes league as I won my game. Scored the most points that I have scored so far this season for that team, so I'm very happy. And now I've got the big thing. This is for an additional $1,000 if I win. This weekend, I will win a $1,500 prize instead of a $500 prize. So let's take a look at my team and versus my opponent, and you can tell me if you think I have what it takes to win the game this weekend. So we'll start off with quarterbacks. Now, I have decided that I'm going to start Jared Goff as my quarterback, and this is strictly a streaming play because the Arizona defense is the worst defense in the league against quarterbacks. They are one of the worst in the league against wide receivers, and they are the worst against tight ends. So I am guessing that Goff will be able to be productive this week, which is very much unlike what he's been able to do this past month. So I'm taking a shot, but unfortunately, he's kind of my best option available. There's not that many quarterbacks left on the waiver wire. I could take a chance on Fitzpatrick or Trubisky or even Andy Dalton. Those are the guys that are available on the waivers, but I've decided to go with Goff just because the matchup is just too good to pass up. I'm just hoping that he doesn't crap the bed this week. My opponent is going to start Baker Mayfield, who's playing at Pittsburgh. This is a tough matchup, man. The Pittsburgh defense is rock solid. So I'm thinking I do have perhaps a bit of an advantage here just based on the matchups alone. Now, for running backs, I definitely have the advantage. I have Leonard Fournette and Saquon Barkley as my running backs. That is clearly a better option than Phillip Lindsay and Austin Eckler. Those teams are playing each other. Of course, the Denver defense is solid against the run. Eckler should be somewhat productive, but he's going to be splitting time with Melvin Gordon. I'm not really too concerned about that. Fournette should have a big day against Tampa Bay, and Saquon Barkley has a good matchup against Green Bay. I'm hoping he can get back to his productive ways. He has been slumping bad the past month or so. For wide receivers, my opponent definitely has the advantage. He is going to be rostering Julian Edelman, Chris Godwin, DJ Chark, and Devontae Adams. Those are all obviously great players, and they should all be productive this week. I can only hope that Jameis Winston decides to focus on Mike Evans as opposed to Chris Godwin this week. But anyway, I definitely have a disadvantage there as I'm going to be starting Terrell Williams, who gets a nice matchup against Kansas City. Jarvis Landry, who's been very productive as of late. I very much like him. And Curtis Samuel are going to be my 3 wide receivers that I'm going to start. Again, Washington, a very good matchup for Curtis Samuel, so he should be good. As you can see, there are 2 flex positions. So in my other flex position, I'm going to start Jamal Williams, who's playing the Giants. Again, great matchup. And he has been very good this year, much better than Aaron Jones has been lately. So I like that one. Tight ends, I definitely have the advantage. George Kittle versus Ryan Griffin of the New York Jets. So Kittle should be very, very good this week. He was awesome last week. He did very well for me. I also have Evan Engram sitting on my bench, and if Engram plays, I think I'm going to bench Samuel in favor of him. Now, this is a PPR league, but you get 1.5 points per reception for tight ends. So they definitely have a big advantage to play as many tight ends as you can. So that is kind of the plan, but as of now, there's no word as to whether or not Engram will play. For kickers, we've got two of the best kickers playing against each other, Will Lutz versus Justin Tucker. So that's going to be a tough call. For defense, I've got the Buffalo defense playing Dallas. He has the Pittsburgh defense playing Cleveland. I'm working right now on trying to pick up a different defense like Philadelphia, who's got a great matchup this week against Washington. There's a couple others that I got bids out on. Not sure I would actually start Buffalo. But Pittsburgh against Cleveland, I'm guessing that's going to be kind of a tough play as well. So that is still up in the air. Waivers for this league do not clear until this evening. So anyway, that's what I got. That's who I'm playing. I think I have a bit of an advantage overall on my team as opposed to my opponent, but it is going to be close. And like I said, if I'm able to do it, man, $1,000. That's nice for the holiday season. So we'll see what happens. But let's go to the start sits. And we will start with the quarterbacks. I got to tell you, there's a couple of nice options for quarterbacks this weekend. If you're looking to stream, and one that you should be able to get off the waivers is Nick Foles, who's playing Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay is one of the worst teams against for quarterbacks. I'm sorry. It's one of the worst teams against quarterbacks. They've given up the second most points to quarterbacks this season. And like I said, Foles has been pretty unremarkable so far since he's come back from injury. I think he's going to be very good in this game. So definitely give him a try. Aaron Rodgers is also playing this weekend, and I know he was horrendous last week in their game against Baltimore, where he got just detonated. But they are playing the Giants this week. I think it's a great get-right game. I think he's going to be very good. I would trust him. Again, Aaron Rodgers is one of those guys that used to be an every week start. He's not that kind of player anymore, but he is still definitely a matchup-based player. So you got to take the matchup. He's a good choice this weekend. Now, for my sits, man, it's a couple of tough ones to sit. Two very important quarterbacks, but I got to tell you, first off, do not start Deshaun Watson. It is the black hole. They are playing New England. It is not going to be pretty. It's not going to be good. Maybe he'll get one touchdown, but I'm going to guess probably not. Look at what happened to Watson when they played Baltimore a few weeks ago. I predict it's going to be pretty much a similar thing this week. So definitely get him out of your lineup. And also, I got to say, man, Dak Prescott, not looking forward to starting Dak Prescott this week. Boy, I got to tell you, it was tough last week, tough matchup. Again, he played New England, but Buffalo's defense is legit, especially against the quarterback and wide receivers position. So I would be very wary to start any Dallas receivers this week. If you can get an alternative in there, get an alternative. Now, luckily, all the bye weeks are done, so all players are available again. So definitely, like I said, try to find an alternative if you can. I'm going to have to do that on some of my leagues as well, because I've got 2 leagues where I got Dak as the starter. For running backs, we're going to talk, first of all, Kenyon Drake of Arizona. They're playing the Rams at home. The Rams are reeling right now, and both DJ and Edmonds are still injured, and so it's pretty much going to be Kenyon Drake's backfield. That means he's going to be productive, and I very much like giving him a shot this week. Put him into your lineup. He's definitely worth a start. I also very much like Miles Sanders because Jordan Howard is probably going to miss, and they're playing Miami, so great defense to play against for running backs, and so go for it, man. Put Miles Sanders in there. I think both these guys are going to be very good this week. But for sits, I do not like Melvin Gordon playing the Denver defense. The Chargers are kind of a mess right now, but Phil Rivers has been having huge turnover problems. Denver's very tough against the run. It does not bode well for runners this week out of Los Angeles. So I would not start Melvin Gordon. And also, if you haven't done so already, man, you just can't trust Chris Carson. Chris Carson, they got a tough matchup, playing Minnesota. He's been fumbling like crazy. Rashad Penny has all of a sudden emerged as the lead back in this backfield. You can't start him. You got to put him onto your bench for now. You don't want to trust. Right now, you're probably jockeying for playoff position, or you're struggling maybe to even just get into the playoffs. You don't want to risk it on players like Chris Carson this week. So put him on your bench. For wide receivers, Someone who I get to play this weekend in the championship game, DJ Chark, who, of course, they're playing Tampa Bay, and it's an awesome matchup. Tampa Bay has given up the most points to wide receivers this year, so got to start him. I just hope he doesn't score too many points on me. So go ahead with that. And also, I got to tell you, man, I like Tyler Boyd this weekend. You know why? It's because Andy Dalton is back as the quarterback of Cincinnati. I do not anticipate that Cincinnati is going to win this game. They're playing the Jets at home, but when Andy Dalton's in the lineup, Tyler Boyd gets the most attention as far as targets. So I think it's going to be a high volume game. I think he's going to be a great choice for your team this week. I have not started Tyler Boyd for the past few weeks, but I am going to start him this week. So definitely make that happen. As far as my sits, here's a big sit, man. Don't do it. DeAndre Hopkins, get him out of your lineup. It's the Patriots. They are going to destroy Houston. That defense is just in a whole different class, man. One of the best in history. Do not mess with it. Do not think that Hopkins is going to be able to overcome it. It's not going to be a good game for him. You know, they held Amari Cooper without a catch last week. They could do the same thing to Hopkins. So don't risk it. Don't start him. Put him onto your bench. And then we've got Brandon Cooks, who, again, he's healthy. He's back from concussion protocol. He did play last week, but he didn't do much, man. And I got to say, with Goff's problems, I don't think that Cooks is going to be a part of the game plan. He's going to focus on Everett. He's going to focus on Woods. And, of course, Kupp is his number one choice. Those guys all stand to have good days. I think Brandon Cooks is going to be the odd man out. So I would not start Cooks this week either. For tight ends. Now, again, it's really tough with tight ends, man. Lots of injuries and everything else. But I got to say, Greg Olsen looks like a nice matchup this week playing Washington at home. He's getting decent volume from Kyle Allen. Not a lot of production though. So, this is really more for PPR type leagues that I would start Olsen. I think he's going to be useful in those kind of leagues, but I would not bother for, if you're in a standard points league. Likewise, Gerald Everett, man, going to my old standby, playing the Arizona defense, the absolute best defense in the league for tight ends. I think Gerald Everett's going to have a big day, so definitely put him into your lineup. Start him this week. He's a great choice. As far as sits, man, we've got a couple of big names for sits, and it might be hard to sit these players. Definitely look on your waiver wire and see if there's maybe any better options available. But my first one is Mark Andrews, playing in San Francisco, and San Francisco is the toughest defense in the league against tight ends. So I do not anticipate that he's going to be a part of this game plan. And again, he was very disappointing last week as well in that matchup. So I would sit him. Do not bother with him at this time. Also, I don't like Jacob Hollister. They are playing Minnesota. His usage last week was very concerning. He only got like 2 or 3 targets or something like that. And Minnesota has a great defense against tight ends. So these guys are, they need to be on your bench. You should be able to find an okay option on the waiver wires instead. And with any tight end this week that you're going to be able to find on the waivers, you're basically hoping for a touchdown. That's basically what it comes down to. If he gets a touchdown, you're fine. Yeah, if he doesn't, it's going to be very disappointing. But that's the risk you take. But that's it, man. So we are almost done with the fantasy regular season. Playoffs start next week, or they start in week 15. So you probably have 1 or 2 weeks left to get yourself into the playoffs. All of my leagues, well, actually, I'm sorry, 2 of my leagues end this weekend. I am in playoff position in both. Looks like they are both solid. I very, very unlikely chance that I can fall out of one of them. The other one, basically, there's no way I can fall out. So I'm good there. And then I still have 2 weeks to go in one other league where I am currently sitting in 4th place. So I need to keep getting wins in order to maintain my draft position. But the team has actually done very well the past few weeks, as this team has Derrick Henry, Travis Kelce, and Lamar Jackson. So it's actually been doing very well. So I'm very happy with what's been happening there. But that's it, man. So, hey, Happy Thanksgiving. If you haven't done so already, please go to my YouTube page, which is just search for Jimmie Maverick, Jimmie Maverick, and you can like and subscribe. You can watch these videos there. And unfortunately, Swami Rob was not able to make it this week, but he will be back next week. So we'll be talking fantasy playoffs, and we're also going to be talking to you about the NFL Playoff Challenge, where we are going to have a league going with a prize for whoever scores the most points during the NFL playoffs. We're going to keep that fantasy season going, and we will be talking about that next week as well. So thank you very much for listening today, and good luck in your fantasy leagues this weekend. Have a fantastic Turkey Day and all that good stuff. So my best to your family and everyone else, and thanks for watching, everybody. We will talk to you next week.